Hello and welcome to Season 4 of the Late Apex Racing Club. We are happy to be back racing in GT4 machines for an 8-week season. It's been a while since our last broadcast, so let me get caught up with the league and what we've been up to in the last year. First, we celebrated Matthew Mayer for winning the Season 3 Drivers' Championship. This was his second straight championship, and he's going to be looking for the three-peat this season. Matthew was one half of Team Bing Chilling alongside Fouad Al-Rajla, who took home the team championship. After Season 3, the drivers filed away their GT4s and battled each other for a 4-race mini-series in the late model stock car. Each race took place on an unforgiving street circuit, and Raymond 2 dominated, scoring the most points at the end of the season. Due to a strange technicality in the final race, the Drivers' Championship actually went to Chris McDonald, who was about as surprised as anyone when the winner was announced. Congratulations to Chris. Finally, we get to the start of Season 4, where we return to the GT4 spec sports cars in a similar format to Season 3. We have a mix of 4 sprint weekends with 2 20-minute races each. We also have 4 endurance rounds where 1 pit stop is required. Today's event is going to be a series of sprint races at Oschersleben. The track is quite cool, but there's high humidity and a small chance of rain in the forecast. Drivers will have to be careful during the opening laps until their tires come up to temperature. Oschersleben is a challenging technical track with heavy braking zones and high-speed sweepers. So it looks like we'll have 12 drivers for today's race, so it'll be important to try to get into that top 8, as that will be the invert for the grid for race 2. And let's check out some of our drivers. You're going to have to forgive me here. It's been a while since I've used this software, so I'm going to do my best. And we're going to advance the session. And first up, we're going to take a look at drivers coming on course for qualifying. And we have Matthew Mayer, our Season 3 champion. He's switched machinery. He is no longer in the Mustang, and then at the end of the season, he switched to the Aston Martin. He will be racing the McLaren to at least start this season in the black and blue McLaren. I know it says Bing Chilling there at the bottom, but I do believe the team has rebranded, and I don't want to jump any announcements yet. Don't want to spoil anything, so we will let the team announce that on their own time. But he is still on a team with Fouad Al-Rajla, who could not make it today as he's driving real race cars, which is great for him. Not jealous one bit. Next up, we have Dan McFarland making his series debut. He was driving an Aston Martin in the SRG colors. Bold choice to start with the Aston, but we'll see how it goes for him. Seasoned driver in the Alpha Touring Challenge, definitely one of the top drivers out there, so he'll be definitely in the mix once he starts to understand this machinery, and good luck to him. We have Fleet Smith returning in the beautiful liveried Aston Martin here. Quite a few Aston Martins on the grid this week. Fleet was in the Mustang in Season 2 for Panda Racing Black, and it's great to have him back. He brings a lot of energy to the league, so happy to see him on the grid. Fleet's teammate Christopher Alexander also returning from Season 2. He's still in the Panda Mustang, so welcome back to Christopher. And we're going to get going here and skip ahead to our grid. Chris McDonald took pole position with a 130.2. Great job by him. He's back in the BMW this season so far. And Matthew Mayer is going to start right behind him in the Bing Chilling McLaren. Fleet Smith is going to start third, and Ian Bertolucci is going to be on the second row with him. Mike D'Almeida in the Aston Martin is going to start 5th, with Dan McFarlane making his debut in 6th. Mark Darnell in Horny Toad Racing, BMW, unchanged from Season 3. He's going to start 7th. And Jason Lynn in a Big Honkers Mercedes with a new paint job, but same sponsors. He'll start 8th. Christopher Alexander will start 9th, and Lieutenant Dan in the Beaver Busters McLaren will start 10th. Austin Dunbar will start 11th, and Jeremy Barber rounds out our field today in 12th place. As we get ready for the very short start here, the track is looking awfully dusty. It does not appear to be any rain, so that will be welcome for those who didn't practice in the rain. Wow, it is really dusty out there. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be dry for this weekend. So we will skip ahead to this, the last corner here. Barney has the green flag. He's waiting for the field to round out the last corner, which is called Zeppelin Curve. Love that name. As green flag, we are racing. Chris McDonald gets a good jump, and Matthew Mayer tucks in right behind him. And Fleet Smith is going to back off a little bit into Hotel, and right behind Ian Bertolucci. Further back, we have Aston Martin on Aston Martin. That's Dan McFarlane. Ooh, going a bit out wide. Aggressive on opening lap on Mike D'Almeida there, and the fellow Aston Martin driver. But, oh no, he gets on the curb, and that is not what you want to do. That's inexperience with the cold tires. Unfortunately, the Aston Martin, not the best on cold, so he's going to have to limp that thing around and hopefully be back for be able to catch up. So we have Ian Bertolucci here going side by side. That is not a place you see that very often. Can't make it work, but he's definitely putting the pressure on Matthew Mayer, and that's allowing Chris McDonald to get away. And Fleet Smith says, all right, now it's my turn. Let me get aside. And he's going to make a move on the inside. Oh, there's the contact. Fleet goes around. Ian takes to the grass. I think Ian got away with it. Fleet is down in second to last place now. So that did not work out well for him. There was a little bit of contact there. I'm sure the cold tires didn't help. Aston Martin's really struggling to get those the tires up to temperature. And there's somebody sideways there. I think that might have been Jeremy Barber at the exit of Zeppelin Curve. We'll stick along here with Ian Bertolucci as he tries to fend off Mike D'Almeida, and he's slowing down. I think he had a slowdown to serve, and he just pulled off the track to get that done. So I think he's safe. I don't see a black flag, but he lost a bunch of positions, that third down to 7th. So he's going to be looking to charge back up the field, and we have Mike D'Almeida at the same spot that Dan McFarlane went off, and he's missing a front bumper. That is not good. Those curbs are deadly on cold tires, and unfortunately for him, unfortunately for all of the Aston drivers, it's not looking so great right now. You know, somebody who's enjoying this is Mark Darnell, who's made his way up to 3rd place, although he just got a slowdown and has to let Jason Lynn through. And here comes Lieutenant Dan. Not doing this time, but Ian Bertolucci's looking racing behind them, so he's going to look to get through this field and get back up to 3rd place as quickly as he can. Goes a little bit wide, and definitely some oversteer there. But we'll stick with this battle as it's not the closest on track. Matthew Mayer is just 2/10 off of Chris McDonald, but he is in tight formation. I don't think he's looking to make a move quite yet. But we'll follow along here as Ian Bertolucci looks to dispatch Lieutenant Dan. There's quite a size difference in machinery. The Beaver Busters McLaren definitely looks small compared to that Mustang. But Dan's doing a great job holding him off. Not defending too hard, just sticking to the racing line. But he does go wide, and I think that opened the door for Ian to get through going into the chicane. The chicane is very easy to pick up a slowdown. You can cut a lot of the track, but if you got too much, you will get a slowdown, and you will have to serve it on this back straight, which is going to crush your race position. You're going to lose a lot of positions if there's tight racing. Oh no, and that's Jason Lynn. He's around. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but unfortunately, it looks like he is falling through the order and trying to get that car back on track. So once again, Mark Darnell is in third place, trying to fend off Ian Bertolucci. Probably won't be able to do it, but he's going to give it a go. And Ian has to take evasive action. Darnell braking early, probably earlier than Ian was expecting, and that caught him off guard. So he looks to have stayed out of the wall, but he's going to have to make up all that work again and get back to the front. Christopher Alexander right behind in the other Mustang. Lieutenant Dan's a big winner here. He's up 6 positions. So he is enjoying the chaos that's happening in front of him as he looks to chase down Mark Darnell. But up front, the race has been like this the entire, well, we're on lap 4 now, 5 minutes. Chris McDonald has been leading. However, Matthew Mayer is just behind, staying in the draft. Not really making any moves yet that I've seen. However, any mistake or any small error from Chris and Matthew Mayer is going to be jumping at the bit to get in front. These races are 20 minutes long, so we are 6 minutes into our 20-minute race. We have a top 8 invert, so 8th place in this race will start on pole in the next. I think things have spread out just a little bit over the entire field. So this is our closest battle now. Let's see if I can get our track map up. Chris McDonald's showing some great pace. Really is taking a big step up in his pace. In the Alpha Touring Champion, he was the Delta Champion, got promoted to Gamma, and then finished in the top 3, P2, I think. Don't quote me on that. I think it was P2. But definitely one of the more improved drivers over the course of the last year. And if he can keep up this pace, he'll be a championship contender. So further back, we have a couple battles going on. Ian Bertolucci has closed up to Lieutenant Dan, and he's going to be looking to make a move in the Amon curve, I do believe it's called. It's a quick right-left, and he gets the job done. And then further back, we have Austin Dunbar trying to hold off Fleet Smith. And Dunbar goes a little bit wide on the entry to that corner. Fleet gets a good run on the exit, and he's going to be side by side, and he tucks back in. If you can get a good run out of Zeppelin curve, you could probably get him into 1. So we'll see what happens here. He gets a good run, and he's side by side, taking the outside. But Dunbar takes the inside. But Fleet will have the inside to the horse. Yeah, there it is. Just a little bit later on the brakes, and he gets the position before they even enter the hotel curve. So well done to Fleet. And we'll hop back up to Mark Darnell, who's fighting off Bertolucci. Last time Bertolucci tried to get around Darnell. Darnell spooked him. Oh, and that looks to be a slowdown, or just maybe just got all bent out of sorts. The triple there, it's a series of left-handers. If you get the first one wrong, you are in a world of hurt for the second two corners. You might as well just hit the brakes and try to get back online. But it's one of the more difficult corners of this track, is setting those three left-handers up. So Bertolucci goes back into third place. He's recovered twice now. He's got a little ways to go to catch up to McDonald and Mayer. But Lieutenant Dan got past Darnell, so he's up to fourth, and he's up 6 spots still. Christopher Alexander right behind these guys. He's up 3 spots. He is also having a pretty good race himself. But this is our closest battle. We have Dan and Mark. Very familiar with each other, been racing each other since season 1. I don't think either of them are going to take some huge risks here early in the season. I think they want to get the machinery underneath their feet. But here is the triple. The BMW is pretty good at taking those curbs. The other cars, I don't really know. I know the Aston, we've seen evidence that the Aston is not so great on those curves, at least on cold tires. Some balance of performance that's happened since the last time we had a broadcast. The McLaren's gotten a little bit of a power boost, especially on the higher gears. So I think 5th and 6th gear. Darnell taking a lot of curb there. And the Aston's got a little bit of aerodynamic balance adjusted to make the rear end a little bit stickier. And Dan is very under pressure here from Darnell, trying to keep it on the road. So we've seen some drivers gravitate toward the Aston just to feel out, see how the balance of performance has affected the car. So far in the short sample size that we have, not great, but it's early. Darnell pulls alongside, powers through. I think Dan either had a mistake or knew that the pressure was getting to be too much and just wanted to get some clean air. So he drops down to 5th. Darnell moves up to 4th. And Christopher Alexander is going to try to chase them down. Back up front, it is status quo. Chris McDonald showing some great pace, and Matthew Mayer just being a shadow right now. That BMW is punching a big hole in the air. The McLaren's happy to slip right through. This track probably benefits the BMW. It's got some good pull out of the corners, although the McLaren has some great traction itself with the mid-engine setup. But the BMW is going to be able to take those curbs a little bit nicer. You don't have to worry about fuel economy. Really don't have to worry about the tire life so much in a 20-minute sprint race. So not a whole lot of strategy here. You don't have to fuel save. You really don't have to save your tires unless you really burn them up early on. But there shouldn't be any pit stops unless you're repairing damage. So we're going to hop on board with Matthew Mayer here and just ride alongside, see what he sees, which I'm sure is going to be the back of that Grimcock Racing BMW. As they exit Zeppelin curve, he is about a millimeter away from Chris's bumper. Into hotel, heavy braking while turning, not easy to do. But you want to try to get to that inside, get the power down early on this short, and he looks to make a move. It's not on there. They're looking to turn on the pressure just a little bit. Goes wide on exit. Just going to limit him here. Here's the triple left-hander. Lots of ways to take that. Oh, big curb. And into the hairpin. McLaren's got good traction out of that corner. Hits the sausage curb. Stays to the inside. Power out. And he's got a good run, but I don't think he's got enough power to make a move on the BMW here. That turbo inline 6 of the BMW makes a lot of torque. It's going to be hard to pass in the straight line. If Mayer's going to get by, he's going to have to do it on the brakes, or he's going to have to wait for McDonald to make a mistake. But this is as close as he's been the entire time. So into hotel again. Chris parks out on the inside, stays there to cover off any over-under moves, and again accelerates out of the corner. For the back, we have Christopher Alexander, who's caught up to Lieutenant Dan. He'll be looking to get around the Beaver Busters machine. Currently in 6th place. Fleet Smith has also caught up to this pack. He'll be looking to make some moves in the next 4 minutes. So Alexander has to be careful. He wants to make a move on Lieutenant Dan, but if he tries something and it doesn't work, that's going to make him vulnerable to Fleet Smith behind. He is his teammate. However, Fleet's trying to make up as many points as he can after his lap 1 spin. Fleet goes wide, but tucks in. Now we're on lap 12. We'll keep an eye on this, but we'll go back up to the front. We have Chris McDonald still leading, Mayer still in 2nd. Should be a couple laps left, so this one and one more perhaps. So we'll keep an eye there. Fleet Smith getting dicey with his teammate. I wish we could watch 2 things at once. Sorry for jumping back and forth, but it's just very exciting. A couple places on track here, but we'll stick with the leaders here as they make their way around the track. Last time by, these guys were both in the 130.7 and 130.8 time range. Ian Bertolucci was a little bit quicker at 130.4. Everyone else is in the 31s and 32s. So Fleet Smith does get by Christopher Alexander. And he'll look to try to get past Lieutenant Dan next. But we want to stick here with the lead. The biggest race implications here for the championship are to see if Chris McDonald can hold on. So into turn 2. We're at 18 minutes, 27 seconds, and McDonald goes wide. That opens the door. He just couldn't hug the inside any longer, but he does have the inside here. But Mayer's going to get good power out, and Chris definitely leaves room. It's fair play. Here is where they have to get brave. They're side by side through the triple. There's a little bit of contact. That's okay. That's just touring car racing. And Mayer gets in front. He waited 19 minutes to do it, but McDonald just had one small slip up at Hotel, went wide, and Mayer was able to capitalize, stick his nose in on the horseshoe section, get the power down, and was able to ride it out side by side through a couple of corners, and got the job done. Well done to Mayer, but well done to Chris too for holding on for that long. It's quite impressive. For the back, we have Fleet Smith, who is still looking to make up some positions here at the very end. So he's gonna, goes wide into the entrance of the Amman curve. Let's see if he can make up one or two more positions by the end of this race. Up front, Mayer leads McDonald by half a second. So McDonald was not able to fight back as hard as he would like, and Mayer pulls a little bit of a gap. Bertolucci is chilling in third place, and Darnell leads this pack here, 4th, 5th, and 6th. We'll see if Fleet can make one more move by the end of this race. The Astrojet American Airlines vintage livery Aston Martin. He's got a lot of the curb there, but I think he should be good. He gets a good run, and he'll have the opportunity into this right-left sequence. He's a bit ahead. Good on the brakes. Leave space for Dan, but Dan tucks in. And that's one more position right at the end of the race for Fleet Smith. Well done. And well done to everybody for a nice clean race. A little bit of door banging, but these cars are built for it. And the checker flag waves. Matthew Mayer wins. Chris McDonald finishes 2nd. Ian Bertolucci 3rd. Mark Darnell finishes 4th, up 3 positions. Fleet Smith 5th. Lieutenant Dan finishes 6th. Christopher Alexander finishes 7th. Jason Lynn finishes 8th behind him. And then Mike D'Almeida, Dan McFarlane, Austin Dunbar, and Jeremy Barber will round out your top 12. All right, let us get our results for Heat 1. And Matthew Mayer finishes 1st. Chris McDonald 0.3 of a second back in 2nd. Bertolucci 3rd. Darnell 4th. Fleet Smith 5th. Lieutenant Dan 6th, Christopher Alexander 7th, Jason Lynn 8th, Mike D'Almeida 9th, Dan McFarlane 10th, Austin Dunbar 11th, and Jeremy Barber finishes 12th. For race 2, Jason Lynn is going to be starting on pole with Christopher Alexander next to him, and we'll have an inverted grid from 8th place to 1st. So Matthew Mayer is going to start in 8th, and Chris McDonald 7th. we'll skip ahead to the start of race 2. And here is your grid. So Jason Lynn will lead us off pole, Christopher Alexander 2nd, Lieutenant Dan 3rd, Fleet Smith 4th, Mark Darnell 5th, Ian Bertolucci 6th, Chris McDonald 7th, Matthew Mayer 8th, Mike D'Almeida and Dan McFarlane, the two Astons, will start on row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And Austin Dunbar, Jeremy Barber will round out the field. Last season, one of the keys to the race for these sprint races was to get past the, if you're starting at the bottom of the invert, so if you finished first or second in the race prior, you want to get past those cars ahead of you as quickly as possible. If your rival gets stuck, it can cost them the race, but definitely several positions. So you want to try to make moves as quickly as possible, understanding still going to be on cold tires. So you don't want to be super aggressive and cause an incident or spin, but you do want to be aggressive and try to get as many places as early as possible to just put yourself in a good position for this 20-minute race. Our pit truck peels off, and Jason Lynn will lead us through the beautiful Honkers machine. And he is deciding to go very late. The green flag was already running, and that's going to jumble the field up a little bit. But 2 by 2, we go into turn 1. And Christopher Alexander takes the lead. He's got the inside, and it's going to be 4 wide? Are you kidding me? And everybody survives for now, and Ian Bertolucci looks to be going on the inside there of Jason Lynn while he's already 2 wide. And we're, like I said, there's some aggression here early on, but you do want to be careful with those cold tires. But everyone looks to file in, and they've made it back, through so far. Chris McDonald taking a more cautious approach, but Matthew Mayer is already up to 3rd place. So we'll see how that plays out over the course of the race. It looks like everyone has so far gotten through lap 1. McFarlane a much better start this time around, and he's putting the pressure on Lieutenant Dan. Ian Bertolucci fakes a move. And up ahead, Christopher Alexander leads the field. And that will be a lap led for him, as his teammate Fleet Smith looks to get on by if he can. And Matthew Mayer says, oh, you're going to go wide there? Thank you very much. I am going to pull up right alongside you. So Alexander leads us through, and Matthew Mayer finishes the pass on Fleet Smith for 2nd place. He's able to hang on. And further back, it's just single file for now. Chris McDonald looking to make a move on Jason Lynn. He might get it done. Not this time. But Fleet Smith is putting the pressure on. Matthew Mayer got around Alexander. So he's back into 1st place. And Chris McDonald still has a lot of ground to make up. He's in 9th right now. If he wants to challenge for a championship, he's going to have to get a little bit more aggressive on the 2nd sprint race of the weekend to try to get past as many cars as possible. Darnell pulling over to the side. I think he had to slow down. But Fleet Smith is still all over his teammate, looking to get around him so he can go challenge Mayer for the lead. Alexander takes a lot of curb, and they're side by side. Oh no! There's contact. Fleet Smith, for the 2nd race in a row, has some bad luck, and his teammate kind of dumped him. Not really sure. It looks like Christopher maybe turned in normally where a car would expect to turn in, and Fleet was there. We'll let the stewards decide on that one. But end result is Fleet's got another race where he's going to have to put in some hard work to get some positions back. Mike D'Almeida is having a good race so far, and he slips on through, and he's back up into 4th place now. And just ahead of them, we have the teammates for SRG, Ian Bertolucci and Dan McFarlane, having a great race. They're in 2nd and 3rd place right now. It looks like there's a lot of teammate on teammate action in this race, and we're missing quite a few. And Jason Lynn goes very, very wide into the. That's a unique racing line. Not sure about that, but you know what? It's better to take an off track than to try to recover something that's already lost, and then you either spin or make contact with somebody. So good on him to recognize, hey, I'm not going to make this corner. I am just going to go straight through, and I'll serve my slowdown. So Darnell gets through, and it looks like Fleet Smith is going to get through as well. So Jason Lynn's going to have some work to do to get caught up to that field. And Dan McFarlane has crashed. Oh no, that Aston Martin is not cooperating, and that is unfortunate for Dan. Was having a very good race with Ian Bertolucci, and Bertolucci is caught back up to Matthew Mayer. We'll see if he can put up a challenge here. They are teammates in the Alpha Touring Challenge, but here they are on different teams. They are rivals. So it was mistakes that kept Ian from challenging in race 1. If he can keep it together on the track, we'll see what kind of pace he has in race 2. See if he can challenge for the lead. He's doing well to keep up with Mayer for now. And just behind them, Chris McDonald has quietly been moving up the pack. He's up 3 positions from his start, but he was in 9th place for quite some time. He does have some work to do to get back up to the top 3 if he wants to fight there. But he's going to have to. Now, that is a wide line for Mike D'Almeida in the ball crushing industries Aston Martin. He's having trouble getting the power down. Chris McDonald senses blood in the water. He's about as close as you can get, but he backs off at the braking zone. Again, he's just being patient and waiting for the move to come to him. For the back, we have Fleet Smith all over the back of Mark Darnell. But just up ahead, we have Austin Dunbar looking to perhaps get around Christopher Alexander. Alexander started 2nd place. He is down to 5th, but that's not bad with the 8-grid invert. So Austin Dunbar looks to the inside, but tucks back in. Driving the World War I camouflage style Porsche. Always brings a nice looking car to the grid. We do appreciate that. And he's going to follow. Fleet Smith looks to get around Mark Darnell. I don't think Darnell has much of defense there as Smith completes the move. And, ooh, that is a little bit hot on the brakes there for Dunbar. Unfortunately, Christopher took the brunt of that hit and was unable to slow the car for the corner. Just an accident there. Unfortunate for Alexander. Fleet gets around everybody here safely. Alexander rejoins, and now it will be Mark Darnell who's going to be looking to make another move. But Dunbar, up to that point, was having a very nice race, up 5 positions. We'll see if he can get it back together and perhaps challenge Fleet. Up front, we have a nice battle here with Chris McDonald and Mike D'Almeida. D'Almeida able to stay ahead for now. We're 8 minutes into this race, so the tires are nice and warm. We shouldn't have that rear balance issue that a lot of the Aston Martins seem to have on cold tires. Track temperature is still about 20 degrees, so it's pretty chilly. Should be a lot of grip though. And we're going to go ahead and ride on the gearbox of Mike D'Almeida. There's a lot of gravel being kicked up in that section of the track. That's Zeppelin Curve. The BMW is very strong in a straight line. D'Almeida's a little bit braver on the brakes, but I think he overcooked it. And McDonald looks to go to the inside. Sorry, let me get that camera for you. And he's going to make the challenge on the outside, late on the brakes, able to hit the apex. Well done. We've seen that a few times. Cars that go late into turn 1 on the brakes tend to wash out wide into turn 2, and that'll allow a car that's following to just sneak in there, get the power down earlier, and complete the move into the next corner. So right now our top 5 is Mayer, Bertolucci, McDonald, D'Almeida, and Smith. And Austin Dunbar goes a little bit wide. He is in 6th place, with Darnell chasing him in 7th. Further behind we have Alexander and Jason Lynn fighting for 8th place. And unfortunately we have a few retirements here. Dan McFarlane, Lieutenant Dan, and Jeremy Barber have parked the car. Let me get back to the action here. So Bertolucci is about 3/10 off of Mayer. And he's able to close that gap. So we'll stick with this battle for now and keep an eye on some of the other ones that are shaping up. Like to ride along with Bertolucci. It's always a joy to hear the Mustang from inside the cockpit. Last year, Mustang was a popular choice. This year, just a couple of them out there now. Raymond 2 should be making his series debut next week, perhaps, and we'll see if he is going to be running the Weenie Hut Racing Mustang as well, or if he decides to do something a little bit different. Bertolucci having a little bit of trouble on this lap. Mayer pulls out a bit of a gap. But you can see right here, you need to be able to keep it on the inside, and that is where Bertolucci made up about 3/10. So if he can get the power down, he'll have a good run into the next corner and catch all the way back up. And the tricky triple left-hander here. If you hit that sausage curb, it will unbalance the car, and you will not be able to make that third of the lefts. So you want to avoid that sausage curb as much as possible. You can hit that one as much as you want. And Mayer runs wide on the exit. That's going to make him vulnerable. Bertolucci's got a bit of a run. Probably not a long enough straight to make it happen, but he is looking to put on the pressure. He's flashing the lights, hitting the windshield wipers, trying to do anything he can to distract Mayer in front. But nothing happening this time. And we have Christopher Alexander. Looks like he had some kind of off, and Jason Lynn gets by. So Lynn moves up to 7th place. But we'll stick with Bertolucci and Mayer as they battle. Chris McDonald is making his way up. He's got 3.5 seconds to get back to this twosome. But if Bertolucci can pull side by side and start making Mayer go defensive, that can slow both of them down, and that would bring McDonald back into the mix. The rest of the field has pretty much stabilized. There's not a whole lot of close battles going on, with about 5 minutes left in the race. But the battle for the lead is just heating up. We are on lap 10. I think we should be doing about 13 laps here. So it should be 3 to go. And we can talk a little bit about the rest of the season. We have an 8-week schedule here, and we'll be alternating between sprint races and endurance races. The sprint races are these exciting ones where you get the inverted grid. Endurance races have a little bit more strategy involved, and we'll have a pit stop. The rules for this league, the tires are changed after fuel, so if drivers elect to take any tires, they're going to have to do it after the fueling has been completed. So that is a new change for this season. Points and stuff like that are carryover from Season 3, so nothing new there. We have Fleet Smith looking to close up on Mike D'Almeida. D'Almeida up 5 positions from his start. He's getting the flash from behind. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a few teammates missing. So Mike D'Almeida's counterpart, Connor Acatella, unable to make this weekend. Raymond 2 unable to make it. Vlad Alrizla unable to make it. So hopefully we should see some of those folks back for next week. And I think we should be seeing some new liveries too. I can't wait. As Fleet Smith looks to get the power down on, ooh, that's a lot of oversteer on that Aston. It looks like the Aston does not like those curbs at all. So they're going to have to be careful as they fight here. But we'll see if we can get a different camera angle to watch this attack. Up front, Bertolucci still about 7 tenths, 8 tenths, now a second behind. I think something's happened. He may have had to serve a slowdown, potentially, but that's just taken him out of the running. So we'll stick with this battle between the Astons. Just 2 tenths behind. Fleet is very locked up on on this section of the track, he has a lot of confidence, and he makes the move to the inside. I don't know if he pushes D'Almeida out, but definitely was an aggressive move. He gets the job done. D'Almeida avoids an incident, goes to the dirt. Fleet gets through for 4th place. We'll see if D'Almeida could mount a counterattack. With just 1 lap to go. Or this should be the final lap. And unfortunately, it looks like a little mistake there. He was able to save it, but that's going to set him back about a second. So we have Matthew Mayer making his way through on lap 13. He's had a pretty incident-free, clean air style race. He was under some pressure from Bertolucci for most of it, but looks to have secured back-to-back heat wins. So heat 1 and the feature race. Here's Barney. See if we get a flag here. Nope. I don't know if they throw the white flag or not. Anyways, we are on lap 14. The 20 minutes has expired, so this will be our final lap. And Matthew Mayer is off to a great start. If he can hold it together for this last half a lap, it will be the perfect start with a perfect 60 points. What better way to open up championship defense than scoring maximum points? So behind him, Ian Bertolucci is having a good weekend as well. Finished 3rd in race 1 and looks to finish 2nd here if he can keep it together for the last few corners. And Chris McDonald was never able to challenge the top 2 in this race, but had a really good race 1, and he will finish 3rd here. Finished 2nd in race 1, so him and Bertolucci will be tied on points as they cross the line. And Fleet Smith will finish 4th place, just ahead of Mike D'Almeida. Mark Darnell had a pretty quiet race. Not a whole lot going on, but he finishes a solid 6th place as he crosses the line. And Jason Lynn in the only Mercedes out there finishes 7th. Christopher Alexander finishes 8th, and Austin Dunbar is the last of the runners, finishes in 9th place. And we'll have some bumper cars to finish the race. That was a kindly gesture to help out a fellow buddy who was stranded. But that will do it for race 1 of season 4. We have some victory burnouts, or what was that, 6th place burnouts? Is that allowed? We'll allow it. Anyways, let's go to our results. So after week 1, and after calculating the points for race 1 and race 2, we have Matthew Mayer in the American Bush Tit Racing team is going to be their rebrand with 60 points. Chris McDonald is second with Ian Bertolucci, tied for second, with 49 points each. Fleet Smith is going to be third with 37 points. Mark Darnell is in. Did I say third? Fleet Smith's fourth with 37 points. Mark Darnell's fifth with 35 in the Horny Toad Racing BMW. Mike D'Almeida will be sixth in the championship um, with 26 points. Jason Lynn will be seventh with 24. Christopher Alexander also tied with 24 points. Lieutenant Dan has 21 points. He'll be in ninth place. Austin Dunbar, Dan McFarland, and Jeremy Barber run out your 10th, 11th, and 12th. I did not get the teams updated, so I apologize for that. We'll get that fixed for the next broadcast. But if you're still with me, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate the support that you guys give the series. We couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.